Hey everyone, welcome to That's Good Denver. I'm your host Chris Romeo, and today it'll be the second division I'll be doing in terms of the NFL predictions for this upcoming 2022 season, and I'll be doing predictions for the NFC East, the Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders, and Giants division. Um, this is arguably the worst division in football. I think it's the second worst, honestly, this year. I would say the worst division this year is actually the NFC South, because there's only like one really good playoff team in that division. The NFC East has always been a laughing stock of the last couple years, but like it's a lot better this year. Um, a little better, I would say at least. I mean, you have the Eagles who should be a lot better, the Cowboys who should still be good, and the Commanders who I think have gotten better too. Um, but yeah, break down the division. To refresh your memory, for the last from the last video, I'll be doing each team's ceiling, how high they could possibly finish, and each team's floor, how low they could possibly finish. In the NFC East, and then I will rank them out at the end. Predict their actual record. So I'll speculate at first and actually predict at the end. So that being said, let's get. So first up in the NFC East, we got the Dallas Cowboys. And the Cowboys, they did about as well as I expected last year. Um, they, were a great offense. Dak Prescott still had a good season. They, went on a hot streak. Were looking like one of the best teams in the league at one point. They were like 6-1 until your Broncos beat them. And then they kind of sputtered a little bit for a while and still finished season around 11-6 or 12-5 last year. Won them the division, then lost opening round of the 49ers, which I predicted that. Um, their offense still loaded with CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard. They did lose Amari Cooper to the Browns. That's gonna hurt them more than what I think people think. Um, and they got some other weapons on offense, Michael Gallup, and they have one of the best corners in the league, and Micah Parsons on defense. They have an okay defense, I think, but um, it's just I think they're definitely capable of winning the division and making the playoffs, but I just don't know how far they'll go in the playoffs. They always think they can go to the Super Bowl, but they like kind of just it seems like they can't make it out of the first round like in recent years. So, their ceiling, the Cowboys, sorry, um, the Cowboys' ceiling this season, I could see their ceiling, being as high as like 12-5. That's if Dak Prescott has a really good year. The Amari Cooper, losing Amari Cooper doesn't hurt him too badly, and their offense, continues to click, and their defense, steps up when it needs to be. Their floor, though, I have their floor being as low as 8 and 9. Why? Because there's just like some uncertainty, with losing Amari Cooper, and their division isn't a piece of cake. You got the Eagles who are better, and you got Washington who shouldn't be too bad. But then looking at their schedule, they got some tough games. The Bucks, Bengals to open it up. That's really difficult. Then they got the Rams, the Eagles, Washington in their division. The Packers, Vikings, Colts, uh, and the Titans. So yeah, they got a pretty tough schedule. Um, I think but doesn't mean they can't compete, and that doesn't mean they can't compete for the division. Next up, we got the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles, they had a good year last year. They caught me by surprise with Jalen Hurts. I did not expect him to play that well, and him and Devontae Smith. I didn't expect them to have as good of the season, but they got in the playoffs. They sputtered in the beginning of the year, like starting 3-6, but they put it all together and went on a hot streak, got in the playoffs, and I expect that to even be better for next year between him and Devontae Smith. Now they also added AJ Brown to the roster. I have a feeling I'm missing some pieces of who's really good on the roster. Miles Sanders. They got Dallas Goedert, who's a good tight end, will get you some touchdowns, I think. Um, their defense, I don't know a ton about, but there's, I think they're a solid football team this year. Um, so the Eagles' ceiling, their ceiling the same as the Cowboys at 12-5. That's like if things continue to get better between Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts, and their offense continues to click, and their defense steps up when it needs to be. Their floor, I mean, by the way, I think the Eagles are definitely competing to win this division with the Cowboys. Their floor, though, I mean, I have their floor being 9-8, a little higher than the Cowboys. I don't see this team, if they were able to be 9-8 last year, make it to the playoffs. I don't see why they can't at least go 9-8 again. Adding AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts coming into his sophomore season and Devontae Smith coming into his sophomore season. Watch out for this Eagles team. Next up, we got the Washington Commanders, and Washington Commanders. That's a new name now, but 2 years ago they surprised everybody. Had a great defense with Chase Young. Were really good. Went on a great Cinderella story. Won the division and even put up a great fight against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the first round of the playoffs. Buccaneers, of course, won the Super Bowl eventually, and that was with Taylor Heineke mostly at their quarterback position. Then last year, I think injuries hurt them badly. Chase Young was out for the year. Had a terrible offense, and their defense just couldn't hold up without Chase Young and some other missing pieces. They had Terry McLaurin, who was a good receiver, but now this year, adding Carson Wentz, I think, is going to help their offense have a lot of firepower. Um, and I think Terry McLaurin is going to be a good wide receiver for Carson Wentz to have. They have Antonio Gibson, who's still young and has a playmaking ability. Um, and yeah, and Chase Young coming back, their defense should be back and good. A lot of people, most people are saying the Washington football team are going to be bad this year. I don't think they're going to be that bad necessarily. I know I sounded high on them when I talked to them a moment ago, but they could be borderline playoff team, I think. Um, oh, and I forgot to talk about the Eagles' tough games. Well, I'll do that at the end of the video, but I'll talk about well, first of all, Washington's ceiling. I have their ceiling being as high as 10-7. They're definitely a borderline. They could be a borderline playoff team if Wentz clicks and stuff. I mean, he's not a bad quarterback. I don't think some people think he's terrible, but he was up and down in Indianapolis. His performance probably cost them a playoff spot, but um, he's hasn't been as good as his MVP season 2017, but he's not bad. Their floor though, of their floor being as low as 6-11. That's if uh, this is assuming they stay healthy, I guess. But like, if things don't go well, I guess their floor being 6-11 would just be injuries, or if like their defense doesn't show up, or like Chase Young doesn't return to the star performance from his injury, or if Carson Wentz isn't the guy, and their offense is bad like it was last year. Um, so how should I do this? With Washington looking at their tough games, they have the Eagles, Cowboys twice, going to be tough. They got the Titans, the Packers, the Colts. Um, and the 49ers, the Browns. And so, like, they got a tough schedule. There's some tough games sprinkled in there for sure, but, doesn't mean they can't win some of these games, uh, though. Um, so actually, I'm going to talk about the Eagles' tough games real quick, and then we'll predict them all at the end. They got the Vikings, Washington, Dallas twice. The Cardinals could be tough. Uh, the Colts, maybe the Steelers, the Packers, the Titans, um, and the Saints. Um, all right, so that takes us to the New York Giants. Um, and the Giants, people don't think. There's some people that think Daniel Jones might be good this year. I don't think so. I mean, I just think he's going to be the same quarterback and turns the ball over, fumbles a lot. Um, Saquon Barkley, like he hasn't been that good since like 2019. Um, yeah, they just don't have a lot of talent on this team. They're still in rebuild mode for sure, I think. They definitely need some more pieces on the Giants. Um, Sorry to break it, but like the Giants, they're one of the worst teams in football right now. Um, I have their ceiling being as high as Washington's floor. I have their ceiling being 6-11. Um, that's if Daniel Jones isn't as bad as I think, and like they can get somewhere. Their floor though, I have their floor being as low as 3-14. Um, they could be competing for a top five draft pick this upcoming year. For sure. Will that be the case? I don't know. But they could be competing for a number one draft pick possibly, and that'll help their rebuild. Um, Looking at some of their tough games, they got the Titans, Cowboys, Washington, and Eagles. I think will all be tough for them. The Packers, the Ravens. They got four easy games in a row. And then the Vikings and the Colts. So yeah, tough schedule for them. Um, but to rank it all out, so my final predictions for this division, I do have the Philadelphia Eagles winning this division at 11-6. Um, I just think Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are going to be a really good combo. They're going to be a tough team to beat. I have the Cowboys going 10-7. They'll be close to a playoff spot. Um, I just don't. Uh, I just don't know how bad the Amari Cooper injury will hurt them, or Amari Cooper being gone hurt them. But they'll still be a pretty good team. I have Washington going 7-10. I just think their division, they're just kind of on the outside looking in right now. They're not going to be that bad, but they're also not going to be great necessarily. Carson Wentz is um, up and down and stuff. I know I said at the beginning of the video it sounded like I was high on Washington, but you know they could compete a little bit though. The Giants, I have them going 4-13. Like I said, I just don't think they're going to be that good. I think they're in rebuild mode, and Daniel Jones is not that good. Um, so how the Eagles go 11-6. I have them starting off 2-0 that until they lose to Washington. Beat the Jags, lose to the Cardinals. Beat the Cowboys. Steelers. So they win four in a row until they lose to the Colts, Packers. They win three in a row until they drop one of the Cowboys. They split with the Cowboys. Lose to the Saints and then finish it off by beating the Giants. Um, the Cowboys have them losing the Bucks, bouncing back against the Bengals, then starting on a three-game winning streak till they lose to the Rams and Eagles. Win two more games, lose two in a row to the Packers Vikings. Win one, lose one, win one till they win three in a row. So I have Cowboys having a little bit of a roller coaster season, winning two in a row, losing two in a row. After their three-game winning streak, they lose to the Titans and beat Washington. So, yeah, kind of up and down. Like I expect, they still happen to finish off 10-7. Um, Washington, on the other hand, they get an easy dub against the Jags. Lose to the Lions, who won't be that bad this year. beat the Eagles, lose to the Cowboys, lose to the Titans, beat the Bears, so a little bit of a roller coaster for them to start. Um, Packers was a loss, lose two in a row, bounce back against the Vikings at home, loses the Eagles, two wins in a row there, loses the Giants, win one, then lose two in a row, and yeah, they end their season on a 3-game losing streak. So up and down for them, but they still, aren't that bad at 7-10. Then the Giants, on the other hand, have them losing losing the Titans, beating the Panthers, losing the Cowboys, and beating the Bears, losing four in a row to start there until they beat the Texans, lose the Lions. That's four really easy games there, and I only have Giants winning one of them. Um, Loses the Cowboys, somehow beat Washington. Then they lose five in a row to end their season. So yeah, they'll be competing for a number one draft pick at 4-13, I think. But let me know in your comments below. How do you think the NFC East will plan out? I'll do the other six divisions later on this summer, and after that do a playoff prediction and stuff. But let me know in your comments down below. Like, subscribe, comment. I'm Chris Romeo, and that's good Denver.